This is Baruch Flashman, and I am the lift manager here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and hoping that as we learn this tremendous Sefer here by Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran, it's part 17. I'm going to come back and try to hear the words of this rabbi, try to understand them. Now, the piece that we're looking at today is longer than normal, and as a result, I'm not sure I could do it all in one day, but we'll try to do it. So we'll go as far as we can until we feel, maybe I feel that there's a place we could make a natural break. We'll go that way. So the book that we're about to listen to was a piece from this book called Safnas Paneach. Safnas Paneach is the name that Pharaoh, we pronounce it Paro. The Paro gave to Yosef and Tzaddik, and it means Safnat, which is that which is hidden. Paneach, he reveals. So that's the name of this book. I don't know the book, but Rabbi Mimran does. Listen what he says. He says the intellect, which is in the soul of a man, has the power to conceptualize. Now he says that it's in the soul of a man. It's some aspect. What its relationship is, obviously, it's a very high level. But in truth, it cannot do this unless it is attached to the mind of the Creator. So the conceptualization, I don't know what he means by conceptualization. Obviously, he means a clear idea of what's going on in the world, unless that mind can be subjugated in some way, he says, attached to the mind of the Creator. Since it is that which brings it out from its potential to its actuality, because it's the attachment to Hashem which brings the mind and its ability to be able to conceptualize. That's what does it. Now, once it ponders on the Creator, it will understand things in their correct form. And then he will become similar to the angels and know himself in the true way. That connection is like a pipeline which allows for a broader expanse of view. Now, let's hear some things. And like I say, this is a kind of a long piece, but it's got so much in it. It's so beautiful. Each letter in Hebrew is not just a sound. Now, if you're not familiar with Hebrew, you have to understand it doesn't work like English. It is a representative form. A Hebrew letter signifies an individual archetypal aspect in the universe. I'm working on this word archetypal. Like it's archetypal aspect in the universe. So in other words, it's a template. One that is closely related to that letter's numerical value, which is called its gematria. Every letter in Hebrew, starting with the Aleph, which is basically A, B, C, Aleph, Beis, Gimel, all of these have number qualities as well as letter qualities. And not just sound qualities, but actually the structure of the letters still. The name Havaya, which is Yud K Vav K, is used as a symbol of visualization. Now, let me just stop this for a second, and I didn't prepare well enough. Let me find a picture of the Yud K Vav K. I'll be right there. Now, right here is a picture of the Havaya, Yud K Vav K, or Yud. We always pronounce the Hey like it's a K. We change the name. We don't want to deal with this name as if it's common. So he says this is the Yud K Vav K. Okay, so we could bring that back, but let's see what he has to say. So the name Havaya is used as a symbol of visualization. So have that picture in mind. The name itself is said to be the doorway to higher realms of consciousness, and to enlightenment. The visualization on the name then brings with it profound results. That is, if you can look at the name and you can see it in your mind's eye, it can bring you to tremendous places. Rabbi Chaim Vital, let me see if I got this right. He outlines how the name is to be visualized in his Shari Kedusha. And he writes like this. One must separate from the physical. Now, this is the idea of this meditation. And raise his consciousness from level to level until he reaches the seventh level, which is called Aravot. Now, right now, I'm not in a position to tell you about this. I don't know much about this. Upon reaching Aravot shall you picture a great white curtain, and written upon it is the great name Yud K Vav K. Once again, that's this picture right here. So in the midst of, just imagine that this page is empty, and the only thing we're looking at is this. Now you can come to this great white curtain. Haravot is a lashon of mixture, of places where things mix. So he says, this great name, Yud K Vav K, written in thick black letters, each letter as large as a mountain, white as snow. Start by uniting so this is white as snow. Now let me go back on this again. He says, imagine that the Yud K Vav K, the letters that we just showed you, are thick black letters, and each is as large as a mountain. I mean, tremendously, he says, make them in your mind's eye tremendously large and very white, white as snow. Now he says, now you take this, that is these big black letters, big, and you put them against the side of a white mountain. And then you say Yud with the list. So you start by uniting the letter Yud, that's the first letter, with the letter Hey. Then you go from Hey back to the Yud. Now let me show you what this looks like again. Now this is the best I have right now. Maybe I could do better tomorrow. But he says Yud united with the K. And then the thought that the K will unite with the Yud. This is the mind game you are playing, and he's telling you that this can prove to be tremendous results. Now let's go on a little bit more. Let's try to get back and see what I'm doing here. So he says, then the Hey back with the Yud. Then you go to the next two letters. The next two letters are Vav. That's this letter, Vav. And you combine it with the Hey, and then you turn around and you combine the Hey with the Vav again. So he says you're weaving it back and forth, this name, against a huge mountain, these enormous black letters. That's what he said. That's your imagination, what your imagination can do. Now, obviously, in meditation, Jewish meditation, he who has the greatest imagination and can follow this will get the most out of it. He says, hey, so then the Hey back with the Yud, the Vav with the Hey, and then the Hey with the Vav, then Vav with the final Hey, and lastly the final Hey with the Vav. So there was a little something that I left out there, so let me see if I can get it in. First he says you do the K with the Yud with the K. Then think of the K with the Vav. Then you think of the K with the Vav, K with the Yud, I'm sorry. So then you take the K with the Vav with the K, and then finally the Vav with the final K. I think that's what he said. Let's check it out and look at it again. He says, this is the technique. He says you take the letter Yud with the letter Hey, then the letter Hey back with the Yud. The Vav then goes with the Hey, then the Hey with the Vav. I said it right. Then Vav with the final Hey, and lastly, the final Hey with the Vav. Now this is a meditation check technique. If I mess this up, I'll read it one last time. He said Yud with the letter Hey, then Hey back with the Yud. Vav with the Hey, that is with this first Hey, and then Hey with the Vav. Then Vav with the final Hey, and lastly, the final Hey with the Vav. So he says the purpose of this is called, he says, the Merkava meditation. Now, what's a Merkava? It's a chariot, but actually, in the language of the Tikkun elevator kollel, it's an elevator cab. It has the ability to allow you to rise up and to actually bring you back down. So he says the purpose of the Merkava meditation is to expand the scope of consciousness to include all levels, from the lowest level, which is, he pronounces it Asiatic, which would mean the world of Asiya, which is also known as the world of Nefesh, and then going up all the way up to the world of Itzilut, which is the highest level, which corresponds to the letter Yud. And let's just say that the Asiatic, or what he calls the Nefesh level, is the final letter Hey of the Yud Ke Vav Ke. But it goes up to the Yud, which is the Yud at the top, which is called Itzilus, and also by the light of something which is called Chai. Mediation upon, I think he means meditation upon the Havaya in its specific application. What does it do? What does it do for you if you want to use this? He says, allows the Atzilutic Sephirotic influx. Influx. Wow, what a word, what a phrase. The ability to reverberate. You read that Mad, he says, Mad is itself in each of the individual 10 spheros of the person, as well to reveal the present level of personal consciousness. Now, this is going to be the end of this year, so we'll pick it up tomorrow. But let's try to understand what he said, because there was some fancy words in it. He said, we want to know, what do we get? He just taught us a meditation. I'm going to use this meditation if I can. And there, God should bless me. I should get a chance. I'm going to try it. He said, mediation upon the Havaya in its specific application. Now, what does it do if you do this? It allows the Atzilutic Sephirotic influx. Now, let's just say that in the world of Atzilus, which is a world of almost complete and total spiritual nothingness, it allows those spheros, and he uses the word influx, I'm not sure what to do with that. It allows them the ability to vibrate. He said reverberate. To vibrate or to reverberate means to bring back down. Mad is the concept called Mayim Duchrin, which means male waters, which go from the top to the top. It allows those spheros to pour down to in itself each of the individual 10 spheros, so that in other words, in every sphero there are 10 spheros, and that part of the spheros, which is in the Olam Itzilus, which is a world of pure spirituality, has no physicality at all. It's almost as if it were the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, but we have ability to be able to talk about it. He says allows the Itzilutic Sphirot influx, the ability to reverberate. Reverberate means to vibrate, and as a result of that, send down the flow of the light of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, which is another word for bracha. To reverberate itself, it vibrates, and this vibration appears in each of the individual 10 spheros. So as it goes down the pipe, so to speak, and understand that every sphera has 10 spheros. You could get into this, go into more and more and more and more and more. You can go deeper and deeper. But basically what we want to say is that we're trying to bring the Shefa down to us in this low world. And that's represented by that final Hey. So those 10 spheros of the person themselves, as well as to reveal the present level of personal consciousness. Now, all these things could be read again and thought about again. I'm going to be thinking about it. This is Baruch Fleischman. I'm at the Tikkun Elevator, Kollel, and we're listening to Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran, who is teaching us tremendous things.